A new report on what could be a major legal twist in the investigations into Donald Trump. ABC News reports that Mark Meadows, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, was granted immunity to testify in the special counsel probe in the efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Meadows reportedly met with special counsel Jack Smith's team at least 3 times this year.
ABC News is also reporting that Meadows told investigators he did not believe the election was stolen and that Trump was being dishonest, is the wording, in claiming victory. Joining us now for some perspective on this is former Manhattan prosecutor Jeremy Saland. It's good to see you. What do you can I start on a most basic level? On a most basic level, what does being offered and granted immunity to testify under oath mean?
So he's not going to exercise his Fifth Amendment right. He's not going to remain silent. He's going to spill, to a certain extent, and we don't know to what that is, what happened, and he's having the opportunity to say these things without having them coming back to haunt him and hurt him and be prosecuted potentially for saying whatever he did or whatever Donald Trump did or whatever they were in cahoots together, if true. So it's giving him protection from his own actions. If he cooperates, again, to what extent, we'll find out.
The ABC News report says that Meadows, in testimony or conversations with Jack Smith, Meadows said Meadows never believed that Trump won and told Trump so. Why is that important?
Well, there's 2 pieces of every crime. There's that mental state that's required, and there's that physical act that's required. So you can't just do something physically wrong and you're guilty of it. What was Donald Trump's intent and knowledge? Was he aware and did he know that the election was lost? But nonetheless, he perpetrated this fraud. So if true, and he knew it, and that was his intent, who can tell you that better than the guy who was there with him and advising him? And that's Meadows.
But Meadows also, that's the same man who also didn't say the same thing when he published a book. There's contradictions here, Jeremy, in between what he is allegedly telling investigators and what he put out in his book. In his book, he said that the election was stolen, rigged, and with help from allies in the liberal media who ignored actual evidence of fraud, and it goes on and on and on, right? Is that a problem?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at Michael Cohen, which is a sort of same but different. You look at Mark Meadows, you have 2 guys who are looking to placate the boss and do what he wanted and sort of be the guy who was really the person that Trump could go to, but then when the time calls for it, they change their tune and they say something different. So it's absolutely something they will impeach, something meaning being cross-examined, it will be impeached or challenged on, well, you said this before and now you're saying this, which is in complete contradiction. It's not gray, you're saying something completely opposite. It's going to be problematic.
Although one is saying something in a book or out loud, another is saying something under oath.
So true.
And the 2 are very, very different, although I do understand that certain things are impeachable. I do, very quickly, just one last question on Meadows, because ABC News is also reporting that Meadows said that he never heard Trump say, Meadows never heard Trump acknowledge that he lost the election.
I think that works favorable for Trump, that you have somebody who's going to say these, we'll call it bad things about what Trump knew or didn't know and what he did and what he didn't do, saying, Donald Trump never said to me, I lost or I think I lost.
But if he had everyone around him saying you lost,
well, to
follow without a difference? I mean,
you're beating me to that punch a little bit. No, it's okay. We can switch seats. But
I mean, who's the guest here?
But the reality of it is, you're correct. You can only say I didn't know, but you know, when the cookies are missing from the cookie jar and it's crumbled on your chin, you know it was you.
All right, Michael Cohen. We just got new video in of Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former fixer, arriving in this Manhattan civil court. This is a civil fraud trial where Trump has already been found liable for fraud, but the trial is for damages and other things. For the first time in 5 years, Michael Cohen in the same room with Donald Trump. A lot of drama in terms of them facing off. But what is the actual impact of his testimony? He testified yesterday. We understand he basically said that he was told by Trump to fudge some numbers.
This reverse engineering, I think, is a term that he used. He really goes through about how he did it and what he did. If Donald Trump said, I want to be worth $6 billion, not million, but billion, well, then Donald Trump was worth $6 billion. And if he said, this is how I want to get there, when I say he, meaning Michael Cohen, would then turn around and look at comparables that weren't really comparables to inflate prices, to get better premiums, to get lower rates. One of the problems, though, keep in mind, is we have Weisselberg, who was also heavily involved. We know who he is. It's kind of contradicting what Michael Cohen says. But all this, again, goes to the heart of the case about what Donald Trump did and what he knew and what he didn't know and the value of what he inflated.
So what has also been raised, as we're talking about with Michael Cohen, is a credibility issue, right?
Yes.
And that seems like that's likely to be raised by Trump's legal team in this. But After I hear that, yes, you can see why he went to prison regarding, you know, his role in the hush money payments regarding Stormy Daniels. But this is not a jury trial, though. This is a bench trial with the judge. Does it play differently? Does, you know, the credibility of the witnesses hit differently?
Absolutely. You're talking to somebody who is immersed in this their entire career, meaning a judge. He's been there. He's seen this. He's not as moved by some of the things that a defense attorney, or for that matter, the Attorney General's office will say. So he'll be able to see through this. And he understands, meaning the judge, understands that someone who's going to cooperate doesn't have clean hands. Someone who's immersed in the swamp of dirtiness and corruption, if true, is someone who is going to be potentially responsible and have baggage. So, it's valuable to cross-examine, and you should cross-examine Cohen on his history, that he lied and he perpetrated other crimes. But what do you expect? If someone is involved in a crime, they're going to have a criminal history potentially. So it doesn't go that far as it would to a jury.
Interesting. It's good to see you. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.